Imagine if the very technology often blamed for harming the planet could actually help save it. What if Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency frequently accused of wasting energy, could be a game changer for the environment? It sounds paradoxical, doesn't it? But bear with me for a few minutes, and I'll show you why Bitcoin might just be a key tool in our fight for a greener world. Let's start with a hard truth. Bitcoin mining consumes a lot of energy. At its peak, Bitcoin's energy consumption rivaled that of entire nations like the Netherlands, consuming around 121 terawatt-hours annually, according to the Cambridge Bitcoin Electricity Consumption Index. This energy-intensive process has been a lightning rod for criticism, with headlines decrying Bitcoin mining as an environmental disaster. However, the real story is more nuanced. What if, instead of being the villain, Bitcoin's hunger for energy could actually lead us toward better, cleaner energy use? To understand this potential, we need to clarify how Bitcoin mining works and why it consumes so much power. Bitcoin mining is essentially a global competition where computers solve complex puzzles to verify transactions and secure the network. This process, called proof of work, rewards miners with newly created Bitcoin, but it requires substantial computational power. This is why Bitcoin is often labeled an energy hog. But here's where things get interesting. Bitcoin mining has a unique property. It can be done anywhere. It doesn't require proximity to cities or even a power grid. All it needs is an energy source, which has enabled mining operations to spring up in remote areas like Iceland, where geothermal energy is harnessed, or regions in China, where hydropower is abundant. This makes Bitcoin mining uniquely positioned to use energy that would otherwise go to waste. Consider the excess energy produced by renewable sources like wind and solar, which often generate more electricity than the grid can handle, sometimes as much as 10 to 20% above demand during peak production. Instead of letting that energy go to waste, Bitcoin miners can use it, making renewable energy projects more economically viable. Take, for example, hydroelectric power plants that produce excess electricity during off-peak hours, or remote geothermal sources too far from population centers to justify building transmission lines. Bitcoin mining can turn these otherwise stranded energy resources into something valuable. It can essentially act as a buyer of last resort for renewable energy, ensuring that no clean energy is wasted. In fact, many Bitcoin miners are already shifting towards renewable energy. According to the Bitcoin Mining Council, as of 2023, over 59% of the energy used for Bitcoin mining now comes from renewable sources. In places like Texas, Bitcoin miners have partnered with the energy grid to stabilize electricity supply during peak demand. During times when the grid is strained, miners can shut down their operations, freeing up electricity for homes and businesses. This kind of demand response service is helping to stabilize power grids and prevent blackouts, an unexpected benefit of the very thing people criticize as harmful. And there's more. Some Bitcoin mining operations are helping reduce harmful greenhouse gases. In certain regions, Bitcoin miners are capturing methane from landfills and using it to power their rigs. Methane is a potent greenhouse gas, more than 25 times more effective at trapping heat in the atmosphere than carbon dioxide. By capturing and burning this methane for energy, Bitcoin miners can significantly reduce its harmful impact. When burned, methane is converted to carbon dioxide, which is far less potent as a greenhouse gas. It's like turning pollution into profit, literally transforming an environmental hazard into a productive asset. Critics often argue that Bitcoin's energy use is unjustifiable. But let's put it into perspective. The entire global banking system, with its branches, ATMs, data centers, and massive infrastructure, consumes far more energy than the Bitcoin network, estimated to be over twice the energy consumption of Bitcoin, according to recent studies. Yet, we accept that energy cost because it supports a financial system we rely on. Bitcoin, as a decentralized and borderless monetary system, offers an alternative that could potentially serve billions of people, including the unbanked, at a fraction of the cost. And it's increasingly doing so with renewable energy. This brings us to the idea of energy independence. Bitcoin mining incentivizes the development of localized energy production. Imagine remote villages in places like sub-Saharan Africa harnessing solar power to mine Bitcoin, generating income and using that same infrastructure to power homes and schools. For instance, in Kenya, similar projects have enabled remote communities to access electricity while monetizing excess energy. Countries rich in renewable energy resources, but lacking in infrastructure, such as Kenya or Iceland, could leapfrog traditional development pathways by embracing Bitcoin mining. The decentralization of energy production could lead to a more resilient global energy system, one less dependent on massive, centralized power grids and more capable of utilizing local resources. Let's talk about national security for a moment. As surprising as it may sound, Bitcoin could play a role in stabilizing the energy needs of entire nations. Countries that can produce cheap, renewable energy might see Bitcoin as a strategic asset, a way to convert energy into digital wealth. In a world increasingly aware of the fragility of global supply chains, having a way to monetize energy without the need for physical exports could be a game changer. But it's not all smooth sailing. There's still much to be done. The crypto community must continue pushing for greater transparency and accountability in energy use. Governments and environmental groups need to engage with this new technology, not demonize it outright. Yes, there are irresponsible actors in the Bitcoin mining space, just as there are in every industry. But there are also pioneers working hard to make Bitcoin part of the solution to our climate crisis. Bitcoin is more than just digital money. It's a technology that challenges us to rethink what's possible with energy. It's about turning waste into value, transforming the way we produce and consume power, and creating new incentives for renewable energy. It's about building a resilient, decentralized energy infrastructure that could ultimately help us transition to a greener future. So, could Bitcoin be a key to saving the environment? It might sound counterintuitive, but the answer is yes, if we use it wisely. Bitcoin is a tool, and like any tool, its impact depends on how we wield it. We have a choice, to see it as a threat or to harness its potential for good. If we choose the latter, Bitcoin could become one of the unexpected heroes in the fight against climate change. If you found this perspective thought-provoking, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more content that challenges conventional wisdom. And let me know in the comments, do you think Bitcoin could be part of the solution, or is it still too risky for the environment? Let's keep the conversation going. Let's